Hey everybody, this was suggested to me on Twitter. Why don't you take the chess personality test? As a noted fan of both the sport of kings and queens, chess, as well as personality tests, like which friend's character are you? This seems like a great fit for me. Let's see how this goes. By the way, I think this the Staunton chess set that has the bishop with like the sweet little slit cut in it. So elegant. Anyway, take the quiz. I'm ready. Which side would you rather play in the following position? Let me take a look. I'll tell you, my initial hunch is that I would like to play the black side in this position. Why? I feel like white is very vulnerable with the this kind of like open area over here. They got it. We've already got, if we're playing black, we've already got like a nice little vertical where our queen has some control. Depending on whose move it is, we could take this piece. We haven't castled yet. Like maybe white has a little extra tempo. And white definitely has like a decent attacking position, but I would say I'd probably play the black pieces. When you play in tournaments, do you usually score with consistent results or do you often perform on the extremes, either really well or really poorly? I'm embarrassed to admit I wish the answer was A. But when I played in tournaments, and I think you can forgive me, I was like 12 and 13 and 14 years old. Sometimes in like an 8-round tournament, I would put up like a 6, which is really good. And sometimes I would put up like a 2.5 or a 3. So I'm B there. Which best describes how you think about this position in the Sveshnikov Sicilian? Black has given up a very important square, d5, or black has lots of potential counterplay with the bishop pair, the f5 pawn break. Interesting. I do feel like black has interesting counterplay. I feel like I prefer white's position, which might be mathematically false, but so I would probably say that black has given up an important square, d5. Which statement is closer to the truth? I bring my best game when facing opponents I dislike, or I don't really notice my opponent. I think I don't really notice my opponent, but there is one exception. When we played that guy with the troll face, he dropped the troll face on us when he got up by a piece, and then we came back and won and hit him with the troll faces. I felt like I played my best game there, but apart from that, I don't really notice my opponent. Black has just played g5. I was just going to say, we see this in games all the time. What's our instinct? Not what we do, what's our instinct? To take on g5 or to retreat to g3? The faster the time controls, the more likely I am to take on g5. I think it's a lot of fun to take on g5. Do you play gambits? The answer is honestly not on purpose. Sometimes I will unintentionally leave a piece hanging, but not on purpose. How would you think about whether or not to take on g5 as white? Okay, I'm not even looking at the answers yet. I know it's going to be hard to believe. I think about, can I develop an attack that justifies the loss of the knight in exchange for 2 pawns? I would evaluate the placement of the pieces to decide if the attack seems strong, or I would calculate several variations to decide if white's attack is strong enough. So would I look at the positioning of the pieces and be like, does this look good? Or would I actually go through the steps of calculating? I would probably just look at the pieces rather than the line, honestly. Under serious time pressure, you are more likely to miss a tactic or move pieces aimlessly. I would definitely say, like, even with the time crunch, we tend to have a reason for what we're doing, unless we get to, 5 seconds. Then we're just like, you got to do something. But I would say miss a tactic is probably fair. You can disagree with me in the comments, by the way. There's probably examples and counter-examples for every single one of these. Which of these ideas do you prefer for white? So let me look at the board before I look at the answer first. What do I like for white here? Well, the obvious answer, old me, is you got to take that bishop because the bishop's got a very powerful diagonal right now. And then if they take with the queen, you just trade queens as well. But I also, the idea of maybe advancing the f-pawn, I kind of like as well, and maybe just escalating the attack. White should trade bishops and put a strong knight on d4, which is here. which will prevent any counterplay from black doubling rooks on the c-file by defending c2. Okay? Not what I was thinking. Or white should push d4, temporarily misplacing black's dark squared bishop, and then start an attack on the king side with f5. Okay, that was definitely closer to what we thought. You start the game out with d4. False. Would you rather your opponent plays d4 or f5? So I don't have a board here, but just imagine a chessboard. We move our king pawn out to d4. Sorry, queen pawn to d4. Would we rather they matched us, or would we rather they played like an inverted Sicilian by playing the Dutch defense with f5? Honestly, I would rather they play d5, because I don't know how to respond to f5, but that feels a little hyper-specific. You've been ahead by a pawn for most of the game, but after tough resistance for your opponent, you have only 5 minutes left in this position. Should you play on or offer your opponent a draw? Interesting. I'm just thinking. I don't know who. Maybe it doesn't matter whose move it is. We only have. I mean, I'd like to know how much time they have left. Let's assume that they have more time. I offer a draw in tight games all the time, so I would probably offer a draw. It's not a true, like, it's not a yes, correct, incorrect answer, but yeah, I'm kind of a coward. I'd probably offer a draw. Which statement comes closest to your feelings? It's always a joy to be paired with someone you've crushed in the past, or the odds of winning are slightly higher against opponents one has previously beaten. I would say it's always a joy to be paired with someone you've crushed in the past. Yes. If you absolutely body somebody and you get matched with them again, you would be like, they probably have a chip on their shoulder, but I would like to, you'd prefer that versus somebody that crushed you. With plenty of time on your clock, what would you do in this position? Trade on e6 and play rook to d7. That was my initial hunch, because the endgame is good for white. Or redirect the knight to c3. Am I crazy? Via a4. Okay, like that. To preserve the better minor piece. Or invest serious time calculating whether knight to e6 achieves anything concrete. I would definitely not invest serious time calculating. I'm pretty sure in a real game, especially with 10 minutes, well, they say more, but I would probably be like, you know what, immediately I want to trade because I think this bishop is pretty strong. And then I would move down here to put some pressure on this piece and then probably double my rooks. So we'd probably take A here. What do you think of the famous saying, chess is 99% tactics? I would say I disagree. Tactics are like, coming up with move lines that you're going to do throughout the game. Sure, there's validity there. I think maybe past a certain point, maybe chess is 99% tactics, but maybe it's like 90% tactics, 10% actually having an encyclopedic knowledge of the openings that your opponent might play. So I would say I disagree. How do you feel about this wild gambit line for black? White to move. Okay, so white is moving here. How do you feel about this wild gambit line for black? White to move. No way am I trying to lose, or I like my chances and this will definitely mess with my opponent. I feel as the black pieces that this is horrible. Yeah, like I don't like it at all. Like why wouldn't white, if they're moving, just move like, to b3? And then maybe, yeah, you're going to take this knight at some point, but like you got the rook for it already. No way, am I trying to lose? After losing a game, have you ever broken something or yelled out loud? No, at least not in the YouTube series. White to play and castle. Where would I like white to castle? You already know the answer to this question. I very rarely castle queenside, even if it would probably be advantageous. But this would be a kingside castle for me in a heartbeat, which is closer to the truth. I get excited or nervous before a game, or I don't worry about prizes, money, titles, or honors while playing. I just play my game. This one's changed as I've gotten older. When I was a kid and my self-esteem was completely tied up in my chess performance, I would get excited or nervous. I would get amped up. Now, like on YouTube, I want to win, but I'm like, I'll play my game. I have more of a nihilist approach. I accept that I'm going to make mistakes, and I just try to, play it off with a certain casuality. How would you come up with a plan in this position as white? So I'm not looking at the answers first. My initial hunch, as always, is we want to trade like our e4 pawn for the f pawn. Or maybe actually now I'm like the d pawn. And then if they take back, we get some pressure down here. Sorry, I tried to right click on it in order to draw on it, but consider the strengths and weaknesses of black's position and decide where my pieces feel best, or calculate some line for white to see how strong various possibilities are. Okay, well in that case, I don't look at the strengths and weaknesses of black's position. I am calculating lines. So, which is harder for you to do? Identify my advantages and build a plan, or trade a good position for a strong attack? I feel like I'm very bad at building a plan right now. I'm still working on it. Okay, let's see. Our chess personality is technician. They're the quietest and calmest chess players. Excuse me, I like to get weird though. Strategists who rarely attack directly and prefer to quietly exploit positional advantages. Technicians utilize their exceptional intuition to guide their positional play. Rarely losing control, the technician exploits almost invisible positional weaknesses to win in the endgame. Technicians do not like to take many risks and therefore rarely lose, but also win less than aggressive players. You might say, how's that possible? Well, you could draw. Vladimir Kramnik is a technician. How about that? Hey, recommended openings, the English opening. How about that? And then for black, they like the Sicilian defense and the Petrov defense. So the Petrov defense is 1 e4, e5, 2, knight to f3, knight to f6. So you're basically mirroring white's moves in order to... The pressure that they're putting on, you're putting on as well. What else is available here? The Anaconda. The Assassin, like Bobby Fischer. The Barbarian. Anyway. Interesting. So we're very intuitive, not very calculating. This is the archetype. This is no longer our results, but still. Very interesting. So I don't think it's totally off base, but I definitely don't feel like it's 100% right, but that might be because I answered the questions kind of badly. Either way, though, it was a lot of fun. A prodigy. Ooh la la. It was a lot of fun. I'm interested to see. Let me know what your results are. I'm certainly not a prodigy. Technician seems like flattering to me, honestly. Isn't this the meme where the guy is like, he needs one last piece for his brain, and then the piece is always something stupid like, 8 beers? I think it's a meme. Anyway, this was fun. You can take this yourself. If you just Google chess personality test, it's offered via chess.com. chesspersonality.com/test. There you go. See if it's right. See if it's wrong. See if it's my God, what have I done? Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for your support. I'm interested for the discussion in the comments. And hey, maybe we'll take a look at the Sicilian defense, man, instead of always playing the Caro-Kann against e4. For now, thanks for watching. Always nice to do chess-related content that doesn't have a win or a lose condition associated with it, so that, I leave the video with my self-esteem intact. Thanks for your support. Let me know how you did, and I'll see you next time. See ya!